Don't be drunk with wine, because that will ruin your life. Instead, be filled with the Holy Spirit. The context here is living by the Spirit's power. If you're lucky enough to be reading an NLT, at the top of this section, it says living by the Spirit's power. It's a section heading. That's the context. Why would the Bible contrast being drunk with wine to being filled with the Spirit? Let me tell you what the word filled means first of all. The word filled means to be influenced or controlled by. To be influenced or controlled by. Let's test it out. If I were to fill you up, let's say to overflowing with alcohol right now, especially if I was to continually be filling you, that's some super bad grammar, with alcohol, what percentage of your life would be influenced or controlled by the alcohol? 110%, okay? 110% of your life and 100% of every other life that's involved with yours, all to destruction. But you would be influenced and controlled in every area of your life. The way you thought, the way you saw things, your perception, the way you spoke, the way you acted, the way you reacted, the decisions you made, the direction of your life, all of it would be directed by that alcohol. And so Ephesians 5:18 is saying, in the same manner, contrasting, but in the same manner, if you are filled to that extent, if you are being filled, constantly being filled with the Holy Spirit, then the Holy Spirit will influence and control your life just in the same way, but opposite as the alcohol. Do you see why the Bible contrasts the alcohol and the Spirit? Because it's talking about 110% influence and control over how you think, what you see, how you perceive things, what you read into things, the choices you make, the reactions and actions and the relationships, all of them are controlled and influenced by the Holy Spirit. Man. So here's the reason for the bad grammar. In the original language, this is what's called a present imperative, just in case, so you know I know the right words. But what that means is, it means it's a constant command or a command to constantly be being filled. It's a command. It's an imperative. God commands Christ followers to always be being filled with the Holy Spirit. Don't you see some of the church not doing that? And don't you think it's because some of the fringe church has fringe, not friends, fringe church has created this fear. So all the other churches like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And the enemy's like, oh, that was so easy, man. You don't think anything. Listen, the Bible commands you and I as Christ followers to constantly be being filled with the Holy Spirit. That's why the bad grammar being, so that every thought, every perception, every action and reaction would all be influenced and controlled by the Holy Spirit. We must be continually being filled. Why? Why? Because the moment we're not, our sin nature is the default, right? Our sin nature is the default. And so the moment we're not being filled with the Holy Spirit, we default back to being controlled by the flesh. That's why it's continual, because the battle's continual. The goal is to learn how to do that. So number one is being filled.